Hello Year 3, so we're at chapter 3 of Pugs of the Frozen North. Okay, remember last term we found out that the Pugs and Shen have been left on the ice by evil Captain Jeggins. So Shen has set off, hasn't he, to find some help and to save himself and the Pugs. So chapter 3, so there is Shen. It was hard work walking on that frozen sea. In places the ice creaked alarmingly and Shen had to back away and find a different route for fear it might not take his weight. In others it was as solid and as clear as thick glass. He brushed away the snow and looked down into cold, gleaming depths where fish hung imprisoned. Captain Jeggins had been right about one thing. Surely there had never been a winter like this before. As Shen reached the shore, the sun came up, peeking very nervously over the edge of the icy world and scattering sequins on the snow. It shone on the frozen fjord which lay between the cliffs. This is the town where Shen is. It cast long shadows from the spindly legs of the houses which perched on stilts along the fjord's edge. Smoke was drifting from their tin chimneys. Shen thought they were the cosiest, funniest looking houses he'd ever seen. How nice it must be to live in a house on stilts. He ran up the frozen beach towards the nearest. Okay, and it looks like this. A girl no older than Shen was sweeping snow off the front step. Above the door, some letters had been nailed to the wooden wall. They spelled out a mysterious message. P.O. Po of ice. What's a po of ice? Asked Shen. The girl looked up. There she is. She had a round face and her cheeks were rosy with the effort of sweeping. It's meant to say post office, she said, but the S and the T blew away, also one of the F's. She tossed her broom aside and held out a small, mittened hand for Shen to shake. I'm Seeker. Who are you? Remember, we came across Seeker on the blurb of the book, didn't we, before half term? I'm Shen, said Shen. I've been shipwrecked. Oh, please, I need help and dog food. Seeker frowned. She had thick, black eyebrows like lines drawn with charcoal. They were very good for frowning with. You have dogs? Yes, they are waiting out on the ice. I have to get them to shore quickly before the ice melts. Oh, it won't melt, said Seeker. Don't you know what this is? Didn't you notice how suddenly the cold came? This is no ordinary winter. This is a magical winter, a once-in-a-lifetime winter. My grandpa has told me about winters like this. That ice won't melt till spring. But tell me about your dogs. How many do you have? 66, said Shen. 66? Yes, so I'm afraid they'll need quite a lot of food and I don't have any money. Seeker was looking at him and her eyes were sparkling just as brightly as the sunlit snow. Never mind money. If I give you some dog food, could I have some of your dogs? Shen shrugged. He hadn't really thought yet about what he was going to do with the 66 pugs. He supposed he couldn't keep them. Not all of them anyway, and this po of ice looked like the sort of place where pugs might be happy. Yes, he said. Seeker turned and ran inside the po of ice. Shen had a glimpse through the door as it closed behind her. It was snug and cluttered inside, and he saw shelves with tins of soup and racks of tools and big bins labelled porridge and treacle. The po of ice wasn't just a post office, it was a general store as well, but it didn't look as if it was a very busy one. Ma, Grandpa, he could hear Seeker shouting. I'm going to help a boy who's been shipwrecked. He has dogs. He's going to give us some. A moment later, she came slamming back out, carrying a bin nearly as big as she was. This one was labelled dog food. Come on, she said. We'll use Grandpa's sled to get it out to your camp on the ice. Shen helped her carry the dog food bin round the side of the Po of Ice to a shed. When Seeker booted the door open, the pale snow light shone in and showed Shen a strange shape. As his eyes grew accustomed to the dim light, which means as his eyes got used to the dim light, Shen saw that it was a magnificent sled with sleek whalebone runners. There's the new sled look. Wow. I've never seen a sled like that, he gasped. Grandpa built this sled when he was a boy, said Seeker, but we don't have a dog team to pull it anymore. That's why I'm so glad you showed up, just in time too, on the first day of true winter. Shen wasn't quite sure what she meant. So if you don't have any dogs to pull it, he said, how are we going to get it out onto the ice? Seeker did an eyebrow thing at him, as if to ask, how stupid are you? We're going to push it, of course, she said. And there's the picture. It looks like Shen's doing most of the pushing, doesn't it? Okay, so tune in tomorrow for chapter 4 of Shen and Seeker's adventure.